Newsweek columnist Steve Brill has spent a great deal of time with the Director of Homeland Security, Tom Ridge, in the last year. He's here with a look at how secure our nation has become since September 11th. Hi, Steve. Good morning. Let's talk about this. I mean, in general, we just heard about a lot of good news and bad news, a lot of bad news still about the lack of coordination among the agencies, about antiquated devices, antiquated equipment. We heard Pete Williams say they couldn't even send pictures of the hijackers over the computer at the FBI, training more CIA agents to go undercover because human intelligence was such a big issue following September 11th, and a lot of things getting through airport security systems. That's the bad news. But what's the good news? Well,
it's good news and bad news. It's not like we suddenly discovered that there was a broken lock on the only door in our house. We have a ton of vulnerabilities. I think we've done a pretty good job. Arguably, we've spent too much money and too much time on airline security because that's, after all, the thing that happened on September 11th, the thing that gets the most attention and the thing that scares us the most, being in an airplane. But while we've done that, we haven't done as good a job on the borders, on the immigration problem. The Immigration and Naturalization Service is still every bit as hopeless and as terrible as it was a year ago. They haven't even figured out the kind of entry-exit system they want to design to build to keep track of immigrants, let alone started to build it yet, even though Congress has mandated it. On the third hand, the Customs Service has actually done a pretty good job at the ports with the big container cargo ships that we see over there. They have changed their priorities and developed a much better risk criteria system for inspecting various containers. So it is a lot of good news and a lot of bad news. I do think that what we've underestimated and what occasionally the press has not given people enough credit for is that the civil servants, the career people in a lot of these agencies, the Customs Service, for example, the Border Patrol, they're really doing a good job and have done a good job. It's, in many areas, the managers that still haven't gotten the gumption yet to get it together and organize and get this done.
And it is such a massive undertaking. I mean, let's face it.
I mean, just to give you a trivial but important example, the northern border, North Dakota, Minnesota, there's a need to put poles up across the thousands of miles there to put cameras and sensors because people can just walk in. Well, the hopeless INS has told Congress that they need to undertake a 5 to 7 month environmental assessment before they can put up any pole. Now that's a sensitivity for which the Bush administration has not previously been known. That kind of and it's just an excuse. They are terrible. On the other hand, I think the Transportation Security Administration, which a lot of people in the press has given a lot of grief to, including Bob Hager, is actually doing a much better job than people think and will start to win people over as they fan out around the country.
Do you really believe that? I know that you say we'll see evidence of that.
I just said it and I don't believe it.
Well, do you?
No, I really
because a lot of people go to the airports and they say, you know, security is really no better. They're making 82-year-old men who can't really walk take off their shoes
they're not making
and check for explosives. Some of the personnel who are monitoring the bags that go through. As you've seen, weapons can still get through checkpoints.
I think if we're sitting here or somewhere a year from now, maybe not here because of the wind, we will agree that we've done a good job on aviation security. We've probably spent too much on that and not enough on other public transit, on office buildings and subways and public terminals where we really haven't done much at all.
You, of course, as I mentioned, have spent a lot of time with Tom Ridge, and the big question is, did he have enough power? Did he have enough authority? And there are still turf battles going on in Washington in terms of the sharing of raw data from the CIA and FBI. If the Homeland Security Department is really to work as it's been designed, isn't Tom Ridge and his colleagues, won't they need to have access to this material so they can coordinate efforts and monitor what's going on?
I think they will, but you know, in all the debates about turf and turf wars, I think at the end of the day, you got to blame the president for that. I mean, the head of the CIA and the head of the FBI and Tom Ridge, everybody, they work for the president. And if the president has the gumption to say, you're giving them this information, and if you don't give it to them by tomorrow, you're gone, they might get the information.
Has that been the most frustrating thing and frustrating challenge for Tom Ridge?
I'm not so sure it's that. I think there are lots of other issues. Deciding on a smallpox vaccination policy, deciding on the policy for the overflights today. So everybody comes to the table still wanting to defend their turf. It just happens. It's human nature, and human nature got put aside for a few months after 9/11, or maybe a few weeks in the case of the Justice Department. But it is human nature, and it takes a very strong leader. I actually think Ridge has done a better job than most people give him credit for doing that.
I was going to ask you about that, Steve, because everyone agrees that Tom Ridge is the nicest guy in the world. I think everyone respects him, but he was governor of Pennsylvania. Does he really have the wealth of experience necessary to handle this myriad of issues that he's got to take care of?
Well, we'll see. I mean, governor of Pennsylvania, that's an executive spot. What he's supposed to be doing now is basically being a White House aide, you know, cajoling people and trying to coordinate them, and the president's supposed to have the hammer here. If he gets the job as head of that department, I think it'll be a real challenge, but you know, it'll be a real challenge for anyone. I'm not sure anyone has the experience yet to pull all this stuff together, but I think he'd be a little tougher at it and a little better at it than people give him credit for.
Steve Brill of Newsweek magazine. Steve, thanks so much for coming by. Nice to see you as well. And of course, we were just looking at pictures of the president in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. He'll be heading out up here, Matt, this afternoon, where he will lay a wreath here at Ground Zero and, of course, deliver an address to the nation at 9 o'clock Eastern Time tonight, Matt.